headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
And as you mentioned at the outset there, we're going to be talking about the whole Disney thing where they're cancelling even announcements like ladies and gentlemen is offensive, and characters that are either male or female, now they're to be non-binary because, of course, it's going to offend that fringe minority. Well, hang on a minute. For the last couple of weeks, we've been hearing about a bloke swimming in a women's contest. Now we've hearing about a cyclist who's a bloke wanted to cycle in a women's contest. Right. What about women's rights? What about women's rights? And going to the Disney question, Mike, I mean, what are they going to call him? Peter Pansexual? What are they going to take what are they going to do? They're going to take the Mickey out of Mouse? You know what I mean?
Well, it's bad news for Beauty and the Beast, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, what about Frozen? I mean, it's literally going to ruin a child's film for millions of people. I mean, even the fear of using the word princess. I think the girl that mentioned this in the report I read from Newsweek, she said that she has 2 children. Don't want to talk about her personal circumstances, nothing to do with this conversation. But because of her personal experiences, she felt it was better that we didn't, treat people as male and female, that we treat them as a non-binary, as a neutral gender neutral. I think that's the word they use in it. But what's more concerning for me? What about the rights of our children as well? I think it's wrong for children, and we're seeing this in our education system in school, where they're even promoting this gender neutral kind of stuff through children's books in primary schools, the age of 4. Yeah. Now, children at that age, Mike, should not be open to those kinds of issues and questions. If later in life they want to ask questions about their sexuality, absolutely. But please, for goodness sake, leave our children alone and stop sexualising them at such a young age.
Well, yeah, this is a woman whose name would appear to be Vivian Ware, or maybe Vivian Unaware, we should call her, Disney's diversity and inclusion manager. I mean, how are you including people by literally wiping certain words out of the language? You can't say ladies and gentlemen, you can't say boys and girls. I mean, the last time I remember there being a story about a Disney theme park, it was not about some guy who was going around molesting the kids dressed as one of the characters, I mean, these are people who have children in their care for large portions of the day. It's their business, and yet they don't want to call them boys and girls.
No, but why are they targeting children, though? Because this is what it's targeted at. This Disney is about children. Of course, it has been since its inception. And I think to myself, I wonder what Walt Disney would think of this, because I've read earlier this afternoon that he had some kind of Christian principles. I don't know if he was a very good Christian like myself, but, certainly, and Christian principles are equality, of course, and justice for everybody, but not to change people's sex, to say that they don't know what they are, they're confused. No, children, if you're born with a penis, you're a man. If you're born with a vagina, you're a woman. Right. That is it.
That's you out of the Labour selection process.
That's your Labour will never have. Well, Wes Streeting actually mentioned it.
He did.
He did. So fair play to him. But what is so confusing about that? And it's the small majority of this, the transgender lobbyists who are trying to push this agenda. And it seems as if mainstream media and politicians are complicit in it. They want to play a part in it. For goodness sake, let's get back to some normality, some common sense thinking. Men are men, women are women. If you want to identify as something else, that is entirely your choice, and I respect that, but don't push it on the rest of us by changing things like our words.
But this is it, you see, because I was listening to Julie Hartley-Brewer's show this morning. She had a trans person on there, and she was saying that this has been going on for a long time, but it's only recently that things have suddenly sort of become difficult if you're trans, and the reason for that is because of these activists who are trying to make everybody else kind of conform to their way of thinking instead of just allowing life to continue. I mean, why can't I say that my son is a boy, for example, if I take him to Disney? I don't want him to be recalled a dreamer of all ages. I don't want him to be called everyone. I want him to be called a boy. They can get stuffed, or I'm not going.
I think the word is reimagining the future, I think, is a phrase that she used, talking about, this announcement that Disney have made. And I look at this and I say, I'm a father of 5 children, and I brought them up to understand, you're a boy, you're a girl. I got 4 boys and 1 girl. They're not confused. I'm not confused.
Yes.
And I don't want my children growing up in a society where they're being forced to think something that they don't believe in. And I believe this is what's happening. It's a sinister plot for this trans lobbyist group to get people to question and to confuse our young people. Why are we confusing young people about their sexuality? Let them grow up in innocence, in the love of a family, even if it's a broken home, which I came through a broken home, Mike, but, I didn't identify as anything other than as a male. Let people grow up, with innocence rather than confusing them with all this
exactly right.
nonsense.
No, you're basically telling them that what they think they are, they aren't. And so therefore they should question that. Here's what Ms. Ware says. We don't want to just assume because who someone might be, in our interpretation, may be presenting as female, that they may not want to be a princess. I mean, come on, guys. You work for Disney.
Listen, it's stark raving mad, right? And I know we're on the home of common sense, but there is no common sense at all in this latest statement by Disney. But by the way, British Airways as well have made this decision as well, because they're not announcing ladies and gentlemen on their airlines anymore. So this wokeism is flooding into society massively. And like I said today, the Welsh government have got flags. I didn't even know transgender had a flag. I wasn't aware of it. I didn't know
either. Maybe I should get a flag. In fact, I've spoken about this in the past. We had when we used to do the homeschooling stuff during the first lockdown, I think we had a guy on, and he was going to make me a flag. I think I should get one, Independent Republic of Mike Graham flag, and see if they'll fly that.
I wonder what they'll put in it, Mike. That's the only thing you're taking a bit of a risk getting, Maybe it'd be sponsored by the WEF. You never know, do you?
You never know. For heaven's sake, no, don't mention that. But I mean, it is ridiculous. Everybody's got a flag now, haven't they? I mean, it's like these rainbow crossings. What are they for? What's the point?
It don't make any sense, do it? It don't make any sense at all. I mean, look, I've seen it when I was in London the last time I was down there with you. The pedestrian crossings with the lights. You've got normally it's a red man to say stop and a green man to say go. Now you've got some with some kind of female.
Oh yeah, there's the
sign.
Yeah,
I mean, what's that?
Well, it's worse than that, because I think they got so confused when they started doing that. They had to make up all these other signs. There's about 15 different ones to make sure that they're not just being male and female. They have to have all the other ones as well. So, I mean, that little, the circle with the cross and the one with the arrow, there's about 5 others as well.
But why do we think this is happening, Mike? Why are people pushing this agenda? It's a small minority. Yeah, listen, we respect people's rights and, to identify however they want. If I identify as a dolphin, that's my choice.
Yeah.
But I won't be pushing it on people or imposing it on others and, saying, you've got to respect my rights. Well, hang on a minute. No, it's the same. We mentioned the cyclist and the swimmers.
Yes.
And more and more, and I'm glad to see that the British Cycling Association have said, no, you're a bloke. And you can't be racing against women. I mean, they even talk about this in prisons, in hospitals. Yeah. I mean, I know people don't like to talk about it, but we need to, because it is a serious issue. Because if we allow this to go on untested and untried and challenge the narrative, then we're going to see things change in society in a way that I think is absolutely disgraceful and appalling, and will only bring confusion to young people's minds. And they've been through enough already, having lost 18 months of education because of lockdown, missing their education, and now we want to pour more confusion onto them by telling them you don't know if you're a boy or a girl. No, if you're born with a penis, you're a boy. If you're born with a vagina, you're a girl. End of. It's as simple as that.
It really is.
Good talk.
Hot talk. Bold talk. Talk radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.